Good evening, I'm John Carter and welcome to Poland Daily. There are a few stories which have captured the imagination more than the Warsaw district corruption case. It not only involves a hefty bribe, at least for approximately €50,000, but also an extremely rich Turkish-born developer and local politician from the Civic Platform Party. According to emerging details, both men drove their cars down a remote street in Warsaw. When the cars approached slowly, the corrupted politician, Artur W., kept his driver window open and the Turkish developer threw in a pack with 200,000 Polish zloty. This operation was under surveillance from Polish agents who followed both cars and arrested the perpetrators. This criminal investigation has already sent tremors through the Polish political scene.
At first, media reports were contradictory. Some outlets claimed that Artur W., the governor of the Warsaw district Włochy, which in Polish also means Italy, was driving his Maserati. It turned out that he was driving a humble Skoda that belongs to his office. Nevertheless, this individual used to own Warsaw pavement in a Lamborghini Urus, reportedly borrowed from one of the dealers. After his arrest, he cried. Turkish developer Sabri B. has been active in Warsaw for almost 30 years, and this bribe was not his first. He realized that he was being chased by police and ran into a Turkish bar, where reportedly he hid under the restaurant's kitchen sink. Several Turkish nationals in the bar tried to block access to the police, so they had to use force. Sabri B. is a well-known figure. He used to own a Pogoń Szczecin football club and is very active in the booming Warsaw real estate market. According to experts, this might be yet more proof that Civic Platform officials who rule the Warsaw municipality are corrupt and should be investigated.
With or without Mr. Tusk? That is the question. It is still unclear whether the outgoing head of the European Council, Donald Tusk, will decide to stand in next year's presidential election. Waiting for Tusk's decision is seemingly propping up the Civic Platform. How serious is the idea? More from Aleksandra Zarzycka.
MP Boris Budka doubts whether the idea of a primary election to select the Civic Coalition candidate in the 2020 Polish presidential elections is acceptable. It is not the idea itself, but the amount of time left before the presidential elections. Not many politicians have declared that they will run, aside from the present Deputy Speaker of the House, Małgorzata Kidawa-Błońska. Many are waiting for the decision of the outgoing head of the European Council, Donald Tusk, who has not declared one way or the other. Mr. Tusk's various public appearances have left the matter open to speculation by the media. Recently, Mr. Tusk announced an upcoming new book titled Frankly, which will hit bookstores on December 12, 2019. Many political observers say that the new Civic Platform project in the form of the party primary is a smokescreen for the increasing loss of popularity for the chairman, Grzegorz Schetyna.
My również będziemy wkrótce gotowi do wskazania kandydata.
Soon we will be ready to announce who is our candidate for presidential elections and starting the election campaign. We have discussed various ways to come up with a particular person as our candidate, and we still are in the process. Expect the final decision next week.
Dyskusja na ten temat zapewne będzie skonkludowana w przyszłym tygodniu.
I have a luxuriant imagination and have heard various statements from Mr. Tusk, and I have doubts if he is ready to face the challenge of the primaries, in particular why he still has some tasks to be fulfilled in Europe. Our presidential candidate is known. It is Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz. My understanding is that the Civic Platform and the whole Civic Coalition make this primary to buy time to resolve internal problems after the parliamentary elections. I wish them and Mr. Schetyna, whom I like and respect, well, and I hope that they solve their problems.
Czy Koalicja Obywatelska poradziła z tymi problemami?
Kandydowanie Donalda Tuska, ponieważ wszyscy powiedzą teraz, tak.
The candidacy of Donald Tusk is the center of this. They say to him, we need to organize primaries now, but he still has things to do in Brussels, so he will be eliminated this way. Mr. Schetyna is killing two birds with one stone and is avoiding responsibility for troubles he caused in his own party.
Krytyki I z linii strzału.
The Civic Platform Party did not make any decisions today. The next meeting of their board will be on Friday, November 8, 2019.
The premature British parliamentary elections will take place on December the 12th. The UK's Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, hopes that the victory will help him deal with the issue of Brexit on his own terms.
More and more parishes and institutions in Poland organize events as a response to Halloween. Holy Winds is an initiative directed mainly towards children to make them more interested in the country's traditions and positive values.
Zamiast straszyć, możemy świętować ze świętymi.
Instead of scaring each other, we can celebrate with the saints. That's why we have the Holy Winds initiative. It's organized for children, youth and families which celebrate together. Catholics and Christians don't celebrate Halloween, we celebrate the All Saints' Day. Then, on All Souls' Day, we pray especially for those who passed away. I strongly encourage everyone to take part in the Holy Winds initiative. The children dress up as their favorite saints, an example their patrons. There are different kinds of processions, youth gatherings, games and plays. It's all in a very positive spirit. According to columnist Tomasz Terlikowski, the best response to Halloween is simply celebrating the All Saints and All Souls Days.
Nie musimy koniecznie odpowiadać na każdy głupi zwyczaj.
We don't necessarily have to respond to every dumb tradition, even with wise new tradition. It's best to simply visit the cemeteries, go to a holy mass, pray to all the saints who are already in heaven for their intercession, pray for all the souls in the purgatory. And that's the best kind of response for stupid holidays. Of course, if someone wants to have some fun with events like the Holy Winds, nothing stands in the way. It's a great project.
To jest bardzo fajna zabawa.
Polish Catholics who object to the increasing popularity of Halloween in Poland have started an initiative called Holy Winds. The initiative is mainly directed towards children and aims to promote the saints of the Catholic Church instead of celebrating a pagan holiday.
A great majority in the House of Commons was in favour of the earlier British Parliament elections. 438 parliamentarians voted in favour and only 20 were against. The European Union's decision to extend the Brexit deal until January 31st was probably the reason why the MPs made this decision.
Mr. Speaker, it is now a week since Parliament voted to delay Brexit yet again. It is a week since this Parliament voted yet again to force Brussels to keep this country in the European Union for at least another 3 months at a cost of £1 billion a month.
If the House of Lords adopts the bill and the Queen signs it, the Parliament will be dissolved. If that happens, a fast election campaign is going to take place in the UK. The Prime Minister Boris Johnson sees a chance for a change of priorities in the British Parliament, which could result in early elections.
There is only one way now to move this country forward and to have that debate, and that is to get Brexit done. And there is only one way to get Brexit done: in the face of this unrelenting parliamentary obstructionism, this endless, willful, fingers crossed, not me, gov refusal to deliver on the mandate of the people, and that is, Mr. Speaker, to refresh this Parliament and give the people a choice.
The President of the European Council, Donald Tusk, said on Twitter that the date of Brexit could be final. To my British friends, the EU27 has formally adopted the extension. It may be the last one. Please make the best use of this time. I also want to say goodbye to you as my mission here is coming to an end. I will keep my fingers crossed for you. The British people, asked by reporters, say that they are in favour of an extension of the process of the UK leaving the European Union.
Probably the best thing to resolve an impasse. There doesn't seem to be any other way to resolve it, so maybe going to the polls is one way of moving things forward.
I think it's probably a good thing to clear the air in Parliament and hopefully bring about a majority government. It's a bit difficult running with a minority government in power.
Thank you very much for joining me here this evening at Poland Daily. I'm John Carter, and I'm sitting in this chair for the final time this evening. I'd like to thank everybody at Poland Daily, all the writers, producers, presenters, all the Republica technicians, editors, etc. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honour to be the first presenter, the first Polish news in English here in Poland. So, all that needs to be said is stay tuned after the break for Poland Daily Weather. It's followed by the business, culture, history, and finally the travel.